Council meeting to order for Monday, January 3rd, 2022. All members of the City Council are present. Others include Jim Johnson, Clerk Treasurer, and Laura Dogan, our City Manager. The second item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of December 20th, 2021.
So moved.
A motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Made by Mr. Vachon, seconded by Mr. Wilson. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. That's okay. That's okay. Read it, class.
We did that 2 weeks in a row.
I know. Okay, the next item. Oops. The next item is comments by members of the public, and the first one is Pam Ladd's about the website.
I've been looking on the website for information about water, about the location of the wells, about anything connected with water in this town. I can't find it. Where is it? It used to be there. It used to be in the annual reports. It's not there anymore either. So if anybody's coming looking for information, looking to know where the sources, water sources, looking for how the water gets there, or even what's in the water, they can't find it. Where is it? Where do we go? And if it's not there, how can it be put there so that we can all know and not feel like total idiots for not knowing?
So you're looking for the location of our wells?
No, we're looking for general information on water in Newport. There is none on the website.
Laura, do you have...
I know that we do a report that we distribute in the water bills once a year. Is that what you're referring
It's
to?
not on the website. I know you do that. That's called the CCR or something like that. That's not there. But there is no information about anything to do with water on the website.
Well, I'm happy to take a look at that. We do have quite a bit of material under community documents,
Yes?
and also use the search engine.
The search engine laughs at me.
I don't think the search engine is designed to laugh, but I've had good luck with the search engine, but I'm making myself a note, and I'll look at this tomorrow.
Is there something specific, because quite honestly, I just did a report for the EPA. Cybersecurity and security of our water system is very critical. So honestly, and they suggest you don't put out information like that. I mean, our system isn't really hidden, but most people generally wouldn't know where it is. I mean, it's this specific stuff you'd like to know. I certainly can get that from you.
How would they know? So if somebody's new to Newport or they're moving here and they're interested in knowing about the water supply here, how would they ever know?
Well, as Laura said, we certainly could get the consumer confidence report on there every year. That's really all we have to give. I mean, honestly, we don't want the general public to know about our water system.
So you don't want people to know?
I mean, they want to know that we have quality water, which we do. We have 2 wells, we have a water tower, a reservoir. 2 wells feed that system. What's that?
That is not on the website.
Again, do you really want to put out there to the world where our system is? So that's the question I'm asking you. Because quite honestly, they're telling us no. The water tower is pretty obvious where it is. You can't hide that. But most people don't know where our reservoir is. And quite honestly, I think it's best left out. That's my opinion. And that's what they'll tell you. And that's why we have security systems for those facilities. Because in this day and age, it's really not something you want to put on the World Wide Web.
I think you have to balance that with transparency, and I don't feel that it's balanced.
If you want to know the quality of the water and what the wells are, we can certainly help with that. But other than that, we have our arsenic plant. Most people will drive by that plant and wouldn't even know what it is. And it's better left that way, because it's a $5 million plant that was built back in 2006. Would you want somebody messing with that facility? No, that's our drinking water. That is it.
And when it comes to security, that's the reason why the fence is so high there, because the government made us put a much higher fence at that facility because of security. Because there's been cases around the country where they've almost had whole systems contaminated. There was a recent article, there was somewhere, I can't remember exactly, where a system was almost contaminated. They broke up a group that was going to contaminate a water system. And so I understand the need for security in this day and age. And I don't see what's the lack of transparency. If we provide the water quality report that goes out in the water bills, if we put that on the website, to me, that suffices. Because I sure as heck don't want our system compromised where all of a sudden somebody has contaminated the whole system and with some chemical.
But that report is not on the website and hasn't been on the website.
Again, every household receives that every year. We mail it out every year. Again, we can put it on the website. That's not an issue. That's fine. But there's other information that honestly, I'm not going to suggest.
If you read the regulations from the state, they say that form should be available on the website, and it's not.
That's
So the
fine.
more
We
I
can put
looked
it
for
out there.
anything, the less I found.
It's not a big deal to put it up at all.
Okay.
Okay, we have Ann Sherlow, Water Commissioner's thoughts. You have 2 minutes.
Right. As you're well aware, you as city councilmen also sit by law as the water commissioners. And you really sort of acknowledge that you're sitting in that role. But I wanted to offer some thoughts so that maybe you think about acting proactively or at least investigating some things. Craftsbury right now has found its level of PFOAs to be above the 20 parts per trillion, and it's scurrying around to figure out, its people now cannot drink that water, so it's scurrying to figure out what they should do. Our wells sit 400 and 500 feet from Lake Memphremagog, and probably only less than a mile, I'm not sure exactly, from the dump, the part of the dump that was never lined. And at any time, obviously, we could get an influx of contaminants into the lake that could conceivably get into our wells. And I would just ask you to think proactively and think, since you're building another water tower, should we find out how much it would cost to put a well up there? It would probably be more efficient to get water up from that area into that tower than it would be the way you have to pump it all the way up from for the two wells that are down near Lake Memphremagog. And just to explore, as water commissioners, what the cost would be, whether it would have a benefit for us to have a backup in case something happened to one of our wells in terms of contamination. Plus, of course, if you were sitting as the water commissioners one day, you could look at the budget and vote on it, and that would be lovely too. Thank you.
First, I'll address your concern about contaminations. The well is constantly tested here in the city of Newport. As far as the landfill goes, I just read a report. They are heavily tested all the time. And there is nothing coming from the old line landfill or anywhere into the Black River or any water in the public water system. So that is, you have to, the state is the ones that require that, as far as I know. And I just read a report on the landfill meeting, and they said that there's nothing that is leaching out of the landfill whatsoever. And so for that, I keep hearing how the landfill is polluting the lake. Well, it's not. I keep hearing how it's putting PFAS in the lake. It's not, because it's heavily, heavily tested. required by the Agency of Natural Resources, the Department of Environmental Conservation, so on and so forth. And I know Tom can address how often our well is tested, and we don't even have, I mean, the last report we had on our well, there wasn't even any traces of PFAS, none.
Our two wells, just for a little information, our two wells are 300 feet deep, they're gravel packed wells, and I'm not a hydrologist, but the aquifer that it's fed from flows the opposite direction, so it would not get anything from the dump. And I remember, and I don't know if it's still around, but back in the late 70s, the city did a study. That's why they drilled the original well down there. They went around the whole city looking for sites to drill wells, and that was the only location that we had, other than taking it out of the lake, which poses a lot more problems. So, back in 2005, we drilled the second well down there. So we have two wells that feed the city. They both produce 1,000 gallons a minute, more than what the city needs, and it's great water.
Just to let everyone know who's connected online, I did mute you all because we were getting some feedback, and I just went through and muted everybody. So if you need to comment on the budget or anything down the road on the agenda, you would have to unmute yourself. I just wanted to let you know that I had to do that. Thank you, Tom, on that aspect.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the fire truck bond authorization. We have the Fire Chief, John Hallemer, here to give us a brief rundown.
Okay. First off, thank you all for giving me the opportunity here. As you know, the city has historically replaced our first new pumper every 10 years in order to be able to maintain our phenomenal ISO rating that we have that has to do with all of our fire insurances. So we're at that 10-year point. Our newest pumper right now is a 2011. So the time has come to do that, okay? We started with a committee of 5 individuals based on their individual expertise and knowledge, be it with vehicles or be it with fire apparatus or time of service in the fire department, okay? We started back in July. We've been working on this and meeting almost weekly. We're working with multiple vendors. The process that we use is we started with the grandiose idea of what would be nice to have, and we're in the process of paring it down to what we need to be able to do and provide the best fire protection for the city, not only today, but we keep each truck for 30 years. So we're trying to make sure that we have the ability to provide the best service possible. Where we're at right now is we've gone through 2 in-person meetings, paring it down, and we're at the point now where we have a number, and we're asking for a bond or loan not to exceed $800,000. That's where we're at. And that would be to include outfitting the vehicle also.
Questions from council members regarding the fire truck? Not fire truck, well, it's a fire truck.
Fire.
It's a fire, yeah.
It's an engine.
It's an engine.
Whatever you want to call it.
Questions from council members? My own question, I guess, is what's the term that we're thinking of? 15 years, 20 years? Jim, what's the normal term?
I talked with them with them and passed these down. Let me take that. So I asked her for a 10-year option and a 15-year option, which we probably won't use, but the 10-year that's today. This is an estimate. I have to wait for you. By the time we get around to do that in July or whatever it is, they may change a little bit.
How it's
So it's not to exceed 800,000 on the vote. The 10-year option will be 2.45% fixed for the first 5 years and an adjustment for the remaining 5 years, which will probably be the 2.79 for the last 5 years. That's a 10-year option. If you go with a 15-year option, it's 2.79% for first 10 years, and then the last 5 years will be another rate, depending on how it works. So that's where we are, and the closer we get to actually doing it, if it's
Time of delivery is
we'll have to check with the,
Time of delivery is probably gonna be 420 to 430 days from
right, that's what that's why this is based on now, and when we get around to it, it'll probably be more than that, I would think.
I mean, every fire truck is custom built.
Everyone,
basically. I mean, they have a basic chassis, I'm assuming, but then they're built from there for your specs?
Most vendors, well, there's two kinds. Some have what they call program trucks, where they build a basic fire truck and then they try to adapt to your needs. Others are from the frame up. They engineer the truck based on your needs. And that's the way we've always gone, because we have found that going with a custom chassis, we get the 30 years out of it without any problem. If you go with a commercial chassis, in other words, a Freightliner or a Western Star or Peterbilt or Kenworth or whatever, they're designed differently. They're not designed with the wear and tear of a fire truck, and they don't necessarily historically last the full 30 years. I joined in '87. Our old engine 6 they bought in '98, and that lasted 30 years. We got 25 out of engine 1 that we took delivery on in '87. At the 25-year mark, we lost the motor in it. So instead of fixing it, they put it in reserve, and then it's time for this one. So history has shown that it works quite well. The city has always bought new, and when you put it out over a 30-year, it's not that big a nut to crack.
and everybody got a copy of the wording, what the wording might be. Get one of those.
I have one of those.
Questions from other council members?
Oh.
Then I guess we need a motion. We need a motion to approve the wording for the bond. And the wording is, shall the general obligation bonds / notes of the city of Newport in an amount not to exceed $800,000 be issued for the purpose of financing the acquisition of a new fire truck with
Affirmative.
Thank you. Thereto for use by the Newport City Fire Department.
Stuff.
That would be the language on the bond. I mean, that would be the language for town meeting day vote. And we will have 1 or 2 public hearings on it. Two. Okay. So we need a motion to approve this. If you so choose.
I can make that motion.
Motion made by Mr. Vashon. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Pedersen. Any discussion on the motion?
Kevin,
Oh, Kevin, sorry, did you have your hand up?
Oh, no, I'm just gonna second.
Oh, okay.
We'll take 3.
Any other discussion? Then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, what red would be replaced, or would it be in addition to?
In addition to,
We're replacing, right?
no, we're going to keep engine, the old engine, the 98.
As a backup.
As a backup. That way we maintain that ISO rating. We got credit for the truck with the blown engine sitting out back as a reserve pumper. By doing this, we maintain that, and that's probably worth 3 or 4 points on the ISO scale. And it allows us to have a vehicle, and I'll be real brief, to place at the end of an accident scene in case of somebody plowing into the scene, and you're not taking out an $800,000 new truck. It's a policy that's being incorporated all over the country because of the volume of distracted drivers and so forth and so on. We just lost a sergeant trooper in New Hampshire this fall from an incident like that. So it has much more value in the station than it does being traded or sold.
Miss, I just so it's clear in my head, so if the engine is blown, how would you get to a scene, or are you talking about the pump?
The old truck, actually, the way they worked around it is called a reserve pumper. In other words, it could be fixed and be made usable. Personally, I think it was a bit of a gift from the people that were doing the rating, but it made a big difference on the rating. It really helped us. We have about as low a rating that you can get in the ISO system as a call department. We're like a 4.2 on a scale of 1 to 10, and 1 being the best. And there's probably not even 10 departments in the entire country that are a 1.
And that rating basically helps all of our fire insurance
Correct.
ratings.
Correct.
And this will be on town meeting day?
Yes.
Yeah.
There'll be 2 public hearings also for additional. So if you have other questions, bring them to the public hearings or contact anyone, John or Laura, if you have questions.
He's got my number.
He's got your number.
On speed dial.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The next one is the FY2223 budget. And we pretty much had the final presentation at the last meeting. Does the council have any additional questions at all for the budget tonight or comments on the budget? Once again, let me just call it up here if I can. Okay. So basically, we're looking, it's a less than 1% increase, basically is what we're looking at. And so, which I think, as I said at the last council meeting, I thought everyone from the department heads to the city manager did a good job in formulating the budget without cutting city services. So I think it's a good budget. And with that, any questions or comments? If there aren't any, we would need a motion to approve the proposed FY 22-23 budget.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion. to
Motion.
Approve the FY 22-23 budget.
A motion has been made by Mr. Charbonneau. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Pedersen. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you.
And if you could format it in such a way that make it easier for the annual report.
Okay.
Just
Yeah, I can do that.
have Becky do her magic. Okay, I can close that. So the proposed budget has been approved. Moving on. New business. Mr. Johnson? No. Mr. Charbonneau? No. Mr. Wilson? No. I don't have any new business, Ms. Pedersen?
No.
Mr. Vashon?
Nothing for me.
Ms. Dogan?
No, thank you.
Okay. Move on. Old business. Mr. Johnson?
No.
Mr. Charbonneau?
No.
Mr. Wilson?
No.
I don't have any old business. Ms. Pedersen?
Nope.
Mr. Vashon?
No, thank you.
Ms. Dogan?
Thank you.
No? Okay. Then the next regularly scheduled city council meeting will be Monday, January 24th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. And now we need a motion to adjourn at 6:54 p.m.
I'll make